Good evening. My name is Eric Lindstrom. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the Inland Wetland Commission meeting for the town of Monroe. Today is Wednesday, March 11th, and it is 7:01 p.m. Will everyone please stand for a recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States
of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I will take a roll call of the members of the commission and staff present during tonight's hybrid meeting. Please answer here or present, starting with myself, Eric Lindstrom, chairman here. Ryan Kelly, vice chairman, is not here today. Rick Smith.
Here.
Jim Stewart.
Here.
Paul Fernandez.
Here.
Mark Zamery.
Here.
He's via Zoom tonight. Kathleen Gallagher, planning and zoning administrator, is not present. And Andrew Brotman, Inland Wetlands Enforcement Officer.
Here.
Before we start, I'll read our mission statement and how the meeting will proceed. The objective and purpose of the Inland Wetland Commission is to provide for the overall protection and preservation of the inland wetlands and watercourses within the town of Monroe. Since there is no public part to tonight's meeting, we will skip down to our agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda.
Okay. There's nobody in the gallery. Is there anybody on the line that would like to speak in a general nature at this time?
There is nobody online other than Commissioner Zamery.
Okay. Then skipping down, there are no regulated activities, no regular meetings. The public hearing section, IWC 2026-01, file number 1564, 1603 Monroe Turnpike, proposed construction of excavator contractor facility and remediation of wetlands. Bruce Mondo Jr. applicant, Donald Smith Jr. PE representative, has been tabled until 5/13/26. There's no enforcement, no deliberations, no bond. Oh, we do have a bond release. We'll talk about that bond release.
So bond release I-1301, file number 770 is 2 Victoria Drive. It's a proposal to release a $15,000 bond. The original bond was for a remediation to a violation that was associated with the violation was filling in of some wetlands, cutting a road through upland review area. And there was a remediation plan presented and accepted for that remediation. It included removal of an existing concrete pad and plantings. This was 2 Victoria Drive. We approved IWC 2025-03 last year. That was the 2 Victoria Drive. It was the daycare center. With that daycare center, we are holding a $102,000 bond. Looking through the conditions of the approval for the remediation, there was one item that I could not find information on. They were supposed to supply 3 years of reporting for the plants that went in. So they planted a bunch of plants and they were supposed to have an annual report submitted. I can't find any records of any of those being submitted. Again, like I said, we're still holding a bond with the new proposal that we accepted. Half of those plants down there was in the area. So those plants most of those plants they needed to remove anyway. Staff has no issue with releasing the bond since we are carrying the bond.
Okay.
What about the plantings? Are they gonna put a report in or not?
With the proposal that we accepted, there's a whole planting plan, a pretty extensive planting plan in a different area. Go ahead, you have questions, go ahead.
Required planting plan update as far as the status that is required by us. Did you get it or are you going to get it?
No, there were 3 years of monitoring reports, okay? Monitoring the health of the plants for the next 3 years. We're going back, I think, 10 years.
Yeah.
So we were holding that bond for the survival of those plants.
So this started 10 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it was 10 years ago. Don't quote me on that. It was a number of years ago.
Not last year.
Not last year, no. So these reports should have been submitted. They were never submitted.
Yep.
But
The plants are there and
the plants were there when I went out to do a site visit before we even accepted this proposal with
Next proposal.
the next proposal with the new remediation plan. Most of those plants were there. They weren't all alive. A lot of the plants would have been removed anyway with what we accepted.
Okay.
With the new planting plan, the new plants are off to the side in the wetlands and heavily planted.
Okay.
So it kind of overshadows what happened the first.
Completely overshadows, like even if none of those plants were alive, it doesn't matter technically for the quality of the wetlands. It would matter if you decided that you wanted to just not release the bond.
Right.
Because the plants didn't survive.
Right. But
They were there. I mean, I went out and looked at them. Some of the tags were still on the plants. A lot of the vegetation, the native vegetation have grown up. So I couldn't really tell exactly what was there. But again.
so all that's missing really is this report. It's a 3 years of
Correct.
reports.
Correct.
It may have sent, we just don't know where they are.
Exactly.
Okay, so what about a planting update for the newer work?
Okay, so the new work does have 3 years of monitoring after planting,
does that have a bond?
and that has a bond, yes.
In addition to this?
In addition to this,
Right.
if we release this bond, which was the previous owner,
Yep.
we're still holding a bond for $102,000
For the current job.
Oh,
for the current job. I think it's $45,000 that's for the inland wetland portion of the bond to be held.
I make a motion,
Okay,
sorry.
go ahead. No, you started. I interrupted.
One of us is gonna make a motion to release the bond, $15,000 bond on file 770 I-1301, 2 Victoria Drive.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That sounds unanimous to me. Okay. All right. No time extensions. Moving down to activities report.
Okay, so I have an agent approval, IAA 26-6, file number 1570 is 6 Nancy Drive.
I'm going to recuse myself.
You could, but I mean, there's nothing to vote
I know,
on.
but still.
But yes, you can recuse yourself.
Still, just,
It is construction of an 8 foot by 15 foot deck and 30 foot by 40 foot detached garage with a gravel driveway and stormwater management associated with the project. The deck is sort of separate. The deck is off of the main house. It's 45 feet away from marked wetlands. Okay, so the wetlands were delineated. It's 45 feet away. And it's existing lawn from the wetland mark to the deck. The extent of the ground disturbance for the deck is digging for 3 sonotubes. That's the amount of the ground disturbance for that. The garage is in a separate area, 54 feet away from the wetland mark. And again, across existing lawn. So the garage itself is 54 feet away. The silt fence, which is your limit of disturbance, is about 20 foot off of that wetland mark. But considering that that is such minor disturbance, the silt fence, and some minor regrading, I decided to make this an agent approval because it's not disturbance within that 25 feet. Conditions of the approval. Put wetland markers up, planting of 4 native trees to compensate for some trees that needed to come down. Install the silt fence as per the plan with pre and post-construction inspections.
Just also to add a little bit of detail. The silt fence, and I discussed this very briefly when I got my permit, my as of right permit or approval. The silt fence is near the wetlands. That was actually in the original plan for the as of right, because that's where the stormwater treatment is going for all the horse stuff and all that. So that's actually approved already in the current as of right permit.
Correct.
So, and also, I already have a building permit, which was approved, I don't know, 5 years ago. But when I looked to modify it slightly, Andrew brought to my attention that there wasn't a proper wetlands permit. So that's why we're going through all.
Somebody question?
So I'm thinking that there was no bias, and we've treated this resident as any other resident, and you've done an adequate job. I have no questions as long as you're assured that, assure me that, we're good.
100%. 100%.
Commissioner Zamory, any questions?
I'm satisfied with the conditions that Andrew laid out.
Okay, all right,
All right.
good. All right, then moving down to enforcement.
Enforcement, IWV 2026-1, file number 1569 is 295 Fan Hill Road, an unpermitted pool and patio installation within the upland review area. So a residential building permit came across my desk.
Is it in-ground or above-ground pool?
It's an above-ground pool. It triggered an inland wetland review of the project. So I looked at it from GIS, and it looks like a pool and a patio was put in an upland review area without a permit. So I did a request for an inspection. So I went out, met up with the homeowners, had no idea that they needed a permit for this.
No building permit either.
They had no building permit for it.
Above ground?
It is an above ground pool. It's a small above ground pool, but it's an above ground pool. The owner is so because of all of that, I issued them a violation. And I'm waiting to find out where they need to move it to, because when the building department and the health department looked at it, it looks as if the patio might be built right on top of the septic system.
Yeah.
So they need to get a B100, and they may have to move, they may have to move the patio and the pool, which they're obviously willing to do. They just had no idea that they couldn't do that. So I issued them a violation, and I'm following up on it. If the pool does not have to be moved, I'm going to treat it just like anything else. If it's far enough away from the wetlands, which it is, it's without measuring it right now, I'm going to say it's probably 40 feet away from the wetlands, and there is lawn between the pool, and I'm going to make them do, or I'm going to require that they do some plantings along the woodland edge, put up the wetland markers. So do a little planting compensation and let them leave the pool there. If it had to do with, trees coming down or plants being removed, I'd go a step further, but that's my thinking right now. Go ahead.
Just one question. You said if the pool has to be made by the health department or somebody else says.
If it's on top of the septic system, they're going to require it to be moved.
Yeah.
If they're going to require it to be moved and there's no location, if there's no good location for that pool, 20 feet away from the wetlands and avoiding the septic system, then they're going to have to just get rid of it if they can't find a better spot for it.
Right. So I'm thinking that it's an above ground pool, and it's going to move in a couple of years anyhow. And this is a resident who, although ignorant of the need to get permits, is now aware And there is some things that they're going to do to make enhancements to the nearby wetlands. I think you did a good job on this. I don't have any problems. or
How'd you find out?
I looked at it from GIS.
Oh, really?
So a
You're
residential,
going through GI?
no. A building,
Wow.
a building permit came in.
Oh, for
okay?
something else.
And when a building permit comes in, I have to do a review and sign off on it before it could get to the next
There's a
step.
building permit for something else.
The building permit was for something else, yes. The building permit was for a 3-season room that's in the back of the house
Which isn't.
that they want to turn into an actual addition to the house. So they want to enclose it and insulate it and make it part of the house.
So by reviewing their property,
Right,
you notice the pool.
right. And then when looking at it from GIS, I'm looking at a pool and I'm looking at the wetlands and I'm saying, where's the permit for this? Because I would, it's pretty close. I have a feeling by looking at it, I have a feeling that it's the patio that they're going to have to move because I think that's sitting on top of the septic system.
The pool itself may not.
The pool might not be. But we won't know that until we get the B100. And they're in the process of doing that.
B100?
B100. It's not a survey. It's properly locating the septic tank and the septic fields.
Okay.
And so I'll keep you updated on that as that progresses.
Yep.
And that's really all I had for that. Yeah, that's all I had for activities.
All right, then skip
During general discussion, when we get down to that, when we get down to general discussion, I'll talk to you about another.
All right, so I guess first thing under general discussion are the minutes for our February 25th meeting. I looked at them. I didn't have any issues with them. Everybody else have a chance to read through them?
Mark?
I don't have any changes that I would recommend. I think it looks good from my perspective.
Anyone else? No? All right, somebody want to make a motion? Anyone?
I make a motion to accept the 2/25 meeting minutes.
We have a motion to accept the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second?
We have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Everybody said aye.
Everyone said aye. All right. Next, you got correspondence?
Correspondence. So I got a correspondence in the mail. It is from Solitude Lake Management LLC out of Massachusetts. We've seen them before. Last year, they're renewing their applicator's license, their pesticides applicator license with the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, DEEP. Part of their application is that they need to notify all of the municipalities that they would be doing any spraying in. We're not on a schedule yet, but what this is spraying herbicide for the boat launches along the Housatonic. So it's lake, they're calling it Lake Housatonic, but it's the Housatonic River. It's our boat launch for town.
So it's
Lake Zor.
At Lake Zor, right. And they're calling it Lake Housatonic, but that's the area. There's nothing we really need to discuss with it other than it's part of they're required to let us know that they are reapplying for their application.
So I looked them up on the Better Business Bureau.
You did, yes.
Up there on Connecticut, obviously, because they're, but I thought that they were Delaware. In any case, whose responsibility is it to make sure that there are not any egregious violations in their recent?
That's that's DEEP.
They make sure there's no egregious violations.
That's DEEP's responsibility. Yes,
So they're telling us that we think they're fine.
correct.
Well, they're applying, not necessarily they're approved,
Right,
right?
That's correct.
right. We don't know if they're approved yet. They're just saying,
As long as it's not our responsibility to look.
It's not our responsibility to look them up.
I think this is an ability for you to say, guess what? They were terrible. They did this. They killed all this stuff. They
Right.
shouldn't have. This crappy company. Don't
don't approve them. So you could send a letter in, I guess.
This is just them
Get in
notifying.
consent.
If there was any reason to petition this, then I would put together a petition to.
The deep to say, hey, here's our experience.
Right.
Here's what we know.
Correct.
But we don't have that. Okay. Anything else on that?
Nope.
Anything else under general discussion?
Yeah, so for general discussion, I was out at a property today. Just wanted to get the commission's feel on this one. It's a potential violation. So a residential building permit came in and a resident is adding a propane tank to where there's an existing propane tank, but it's within, the upland review area.
So in addition to not.
In addition to that tank, they're adding another one. It's within the upland review area. It's far enough away, but from looking at it from GIS, I see that there is a patio and a fire pit very close to a pond that's in the front yard of this property. It's a 10 by 10 patio with a fire pit. So I go back and I look to see how long that's been there. It's only been there for a few years, but they did that without a permit. I went out, I looked at it today. It's really a small patio with a fire pit, and it was in existing lawn going right up to the edge of a pond. The back side of the pond is all planted, native plants, not anything that they did, just naturally growing out there. I'm inclined to not issue a violation to it, but to do a voluntary compliance and have them do some plantings along the pond's edge and let them leave the patio where it is and the fire pit because they're there as recreation. So they use this pond, they ice skate on the pond, they paddle on the pond. It's got fish in it, it's got wildlife. But I don't see any reason for anything more than that. Now, they do have an as of right to do the activities that they do on the pond, but they don't have an as of right to remove the grass, the soil, put in impervious surface, put in a fire pit, but they're doing that for the enjoyment of nature and the enjoyment of the wetlands that they have on their property. They're lucky to have it, even though they're I informed them that anything they do in their yard that has to do with ground disturbance in the future, they need a permit for it. I could go either way with issuing a violation and then answering to the violation. I'm thinking that I'd like to just do a voluntary compliance and have them do some plantings. Yes. Good.
Just one question is, how close is the fire pit to the lake, to the pond?
About 10 feet.
That's kind of close.
It's about 10 feet. If they came to me, and this is part of my thinking, if they came to me beforehand,
Yeah.
okay, before they did that,
Right.
and asked for a permit, I would have had them put it 25 feet away.
Right.
However, the 10 feet that they still have there is lawn, so I just don't see any significant. I don't see.
It's a nice patio.
It's a nice little brick patio, to me, it's not, there's no significant impact, even though there was impact. I think it would be more impactful to remove what's there,
Rebuild.
Yeah.
and put it back to lawn. And what are we gaining by getting lawn instead of a patio? Like, we're just,
Yeah, you said the patio's small, 10 by 10?
it's 10 by 10, if that.
Because they could always remove the pavers and put down crushed stone and.
Well, they'd move it back 10, 15 feet and then build it again.
Right, exactly.
As it's-
So-
Right. And it seemed to me, right. And actually moving it back, it all slopes down.
Some more excavation. and-
If they had to move it back 10 feet, they would have to do some sort of a retaining wall, which would be more impactful.
Right.
So I'm really inclined just to, plant a weeping willow on the other side of the pond. That would increase the aesthetics of where you're sitting, or birch trees, or, something that provides food source, or, bird habitat.
Yeah. Okay,
I think it's fine.
that's good.
So then I will do a voluntary compliance and not a violation.
I think that's okay.
Yeah, just informing them and letting them know that next time it's not going to go.
Oh, I did. We had the whole conversation today and, you know, they had no idea and
Right.
that's what happened.
It's not an excuse, but I do appreciate that it's a resident who's appreciating nature and their yard and Monroe and not doing any significant damage, so I would agree.
Voluntary compliance it is.
All right.
And that's it under general discussion. Mark, did you have any questions on that?
So the voluntary compliance, is that, just to take this back, so is that in regards to adding an additional propane tank?
Yeah, the propane tank, no, these are two separate issues. The propane tank I've signed off on anyway. The propane tank is probably 60 feet off of that.
That was just the reason you were out there.
The reason I was out there was because of the propane tank, but the propane tank I would just do as an agent approval.
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't think that's in our scope though, right? Like, don't they need a permit to place down a propane tank or no? Like, I know there's not a lot of rules around it, 5 feet from a window, things like that, but do they
Yes.
need a permit?
Yes, all of those other regulations associated with a propane tank, that's through the building department, and the zoning department also looks at it so that it's, you know, far enough away from setbacks,
So,
you know, property setbacks.
so my question then is, since they never got that for the existing propane tanks, are they now going to get it for all of the propane tanks now that an additional one is being added?
Oh,
Maybe it's not a question for us in inland wetlands, but I would think now that they would need to get approval for all of them, right?
okay. The existing propane tanks were already approved.
Gotcha.
They were
Okay.
just looking for approval on one additional tank.
Okay, I misunderstood you. I'm good then with everything else. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. I guess with,
If there's no further,
there's no further things to discuss, nothing else on the agenda, then I guess we're
Snap again.
adjourned.